Today on Locked On Rockies, Ezequiel Tovar's 3-hit game against Japan shows that he's ready to take over as the Rockies' leader in the clubhouse and on the field.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 16th day of March in the year 2026. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Best way to engage with the show is the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. You can also check us out on the Everydayer Club Discord server, where you can check that out too. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. You can see more information in the show notes as well. But folks, today on the show, I'm going to talk a lot about Ezequiel Tovar. I cannot be more hyped up after his performance against Team Japan, and I'll explain why. Because it has huge implications for the Rockies, because it's the Ezequiel Tovar that we know about, but the baseball world got to see. Holy cow, the Rockies might have something cooking there at shortstop, because we need to revisit just how important Ezequiel Tovar is for this club when he plays, and how it seems like it's all full steam ahead, full things go for Ezequiel Tovar. We're going to talk about that. We'll recap the weekend spring training games as well. Plus, I want to gush a little bit more about the World Baseball Classic, because it has been absolutely wonderful. Just a quick note, we are recording before the Sunday night's big matchup as well, and before the Rockies wrap up against the Angels. But that game's pretty well into the 7th here, so we'll touch on the spring training action and everything here on today's episode. Before we do that, though, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLBThe.show/LockedOn and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. I am, of course, Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire. Been bringing you this daily Rockies podcast for over 6 seasons now. That means hundreds of episodes going through the ups and downs of Rockies baseball with you, the fans. And if you're a Rockies fan, you had to love watching Ezequiel Tovar play against Team Japan. The energy was showing. He had a 3-hit game. He continues to torment Yamamoto. That is the Rockies' leader. Ezequiel Tovar is a guy that is the biggest game changer for the Rockies, and we saw last year how much they missed him. Why were the Rockies so bad on defense? They were missing Ezequiel Tovar. Why were the Rockies bad on offense? They were missing Ezequiel Tovar. Now, that's not going to help them in the strikeout department. We'll dive into that in just a little bit. But the Rockies across the board are a infinitely better team with Ezequiel Tovar on the field. And you might think I'm sitting here and blowing it out of proportion, but when you're talking about the last 3 years, Ezequiel Tovar was with his down year. He was a 3.8 WAR player in 2024, leading the league in doubles. I believe tied for the lead in doubles, but had 45 doubles in that time. And the season before that, his first full experience, the Rockies handing the keys over, he was a 2.5 WAR player, hitting 37 doubles. He hit 269, 295, 469, 763 with 200 strikeouts in his second full year in the majors. If Ezequiel Tovar, and that was just the beginning, and now on a good Team Venezuela team, Ezequiel Tovar is the best bat statistically on Team Venezuela right now, and it's not close. He's batting in the middle of the order as a consistent great bat, and he just went up against one of the World Series MVP and had 3 hits off of him in an elimination game. Ezequiel Tovar is the guy that will lead the Rockies. If he is healthy and plays the caliber of baseball that we know he can, he will be an all-star caliber player, and he is in line for a breakout season. He has been nuts at the World Baseball Classic here. In 10 plate appearances, he has 6 hits. 3 of them are doubles. He's got a walk. He's got 3 strikeouts, but his batting line right now at the World Baseball Classic is a 667, 700. His average is 667. His OBP is 700. His slugging is 1,000, and his OPS is 1.7. It's a small sample size, sure. It's 10 plate appearances, but this is in a high leverage, important, competitive environment. This is the highest level of competition that Ezequiel Tovar has played at in his professional baseball career. This is the playoffs right here. This is the moment. However long Team Venezuela plays, the World Baseball Classic is the most significant baseball that Ezequiel Tovar is going to play this year, and he's thriving. He's out hitting Eugenio Suarez, Luis Arias, Ronald Acuna Jr., Gleyber Torres, Salvador Perez. I mean, it's amazing. I am not afraid to be a little bit of a gushing homer here, because this is a guy that can be special. When you're talking about a guy that I think has the possibility to be a guy that has baseball buzzing this year, he absolutely can do that. If Ezequiel Tovar cuts down on strikeouts, he will be one of the best offensive weapons in the game this year. This is a guy that can hit home runs. This is a guy that hits doubles. I mean, as long as I can keep riding the hyper overreact train here. Have we seen someone hit doubles like Ezequiel Tovar since Todd Helton? I mean, this is a guy where extra base hits are a norm, and if he can develop a better control and containment of the zone, the strikeouts being the big glaring issue of his offensive game in the tournament here, having 3 strikeouts during that time, during the World Baseball Classic as well for Tovar. If he's able to control the zone, if he's able to cut down on the Ks, what's standing in his way from being an all-star? What's standing in it? And health, of course, obviously, but he's looking healthy. He's playing healthy. He's jumping up and catching balls and snagging things out of the air. He's making plays. He's playing an aggressive shortstop. He's getting 3 hits in a game. He's hitting multiple doubles. If you're a Rockies fan, I don't know how you're not juiced at watching Ezequiel Tovar, because the difference between spring training numbers and the World Baseball Classic numbers are, the World Baseball Classic numbers mean something. Those 3 hits at that game, in that situation, those matter. That is a playoff level atmosphere. And for Tovar, like I mentioned, the most competitive game, or high leverage, high intensity game that he's going to most likely play in 2026. And he thrived in the moment. And I think we can't forget, in the storyline of last year and all the issues of the offense, is Ezequiel Tovar played less than 100 games for the Rockies last year. 95 games. He had 300 less at bats for the Rockies than normal last year. And when he did play, and in times where he was back, he clearly wasn't healthy. But right now we're seeing we're getting a glimpse of a healthy Tovar, who I spoke with MLB.com. I don't have it up with me, but was talking about locking in, talking about, being being the best version of himself and going to that next level. And to see it pan out on that big stage is just, that's a reason to be excited as a Rockies fan. When you're looking for a reason to watch, I say this all the time when we're talking about reasons to watch the Rockies, that guy right there just gave you one. Because the Rockies, all their issues aside, they have hit on the shortstops. And we have talked about this way for Ezequiel Tovar since he was handed the keys 2 years ago. Don't be surprised if in 2026 the lead story about the Colorado Rockies is their shortstop. He is that good, and he introduced himself to a national audience this weekend. It really, truly, for me, there's obviously the couple of games remaining, and the opportunity is still prime for Tovar. But it's all gravy right now, because for it to be against Team Japan, to be against Team Japan, to send Venezuela to the Olympics, to get out there and continue to hit well against Yamamoto, that's the stuff that gets you pumped up and energized. That's the stuff that builds the hope for a Rockies fan, because out of all the players on Team Venezuela, and people were hitting big home runs, there were big flies in that game, nobody on Team Venezuela's offense has been better than Ezequiel Tovar. And that means something. It's a reason to get excited. It's a small sample size. That it's still baseball in March. But in his first taste of high level, high leverage baseball, Ezequiel Tovar did not disappoint. Let's take a look at the Rockies spring training games, talk a little bit more about the World Baseball Classic, and I got to read the stat line of Ezequiel Tovar against Yamamoto. Let's do that all coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes MLB The Show 26. The greatest game in baseball is back with its newest installment. Baseball fans are going to have a hard time pulling themselves away from the game, and folks, I can attest to this. When I fire up Road to the Show, when you're talking about minutes turn to hours, turn to way more hours than you want, because you're on the grind from college to the minor leagues up to the big leagues to help the Rockies go to the World Series because your player is leading the way. That's the way I like to play MLB The Show. But guess what? There's so many features. You can take the Rockies to the World Series in franchise mode. You can take the game online and go and play against your friends or foes online there, or bring your friends over and lock up here the old-fashioned way. One player sitting next to each other on the couch and enjoying the great game of baseball. If you're a gamer, a baseball fan, or just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in a new, exciting way, you're going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team and franchise players and see if you have what it takes to win your own World Series. Visit MLBThe.show/lockedon and use the code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Internet connection is required. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. We're also brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Back at it here for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Hey, you already love Locked On Rockies. Why not take it to the next level and get in on the action for our NCAA tournament? Join the Everydayer Club now with code MARCH to get your first month of ad-free audio and Everydayer Club Discord access for free. If you sign up before the NCAA tournament tips off this Thursday, you can compete against me and others in our men's and women's bracket pools on Discord. The winner in each will get $100 in Locked On merch. The rest of us can commiserate in the members-only chats as our brackets blow up. And as a member of the club, you're going to get an ad-free version of this show. Again, it's all for free with a month with code MARCH at lockedonrockies.supercast.com. All right. So before we move on from Ezequiel Tovar here, just wanted to read this little bit here from Andrew Dill on Rock's Pile here. Regarding Tovar, he has shown excellent plate discipline against Yamamoto, particularly during his successful breakout 2024 season. In 2024, he was 6 for 7 against the Dodgers right-hander, hitting .857, .857, 1.429 with 6 hits, including a double and home run, and only 1 strikeout. In 2025, Tovar dealt with injuries, and Colorado is looking for the shortstop to bounce back strongly in 2026. He had only 3 at-bats against Yamamoto, hitting 1 for 3 with a homer. Over the 2 seasons, his combined record is 7 for 10 against the right-hander. That's one of the best pitchers in the game. And for Ezequiel Tovar to be that successful, for him to, that swing he had, he just jumped all over that pitch, crushed it for his first double. And what I really love too about the performance and him being in that moment, we got to see the energetic, enthusiastic Tovar. We got to see the energy. We got to see the passion. We got to see him being fired up and ready to go. That to see him and be on the same level as his team, for his teammates to embrace him the way it's just, that's what I just love. Seeing all these teams, how much they come together and they just buy in quickly as a team and just really, really buy into the whole World Baseball Classic. I just think it's just been an absolute blast. You got Italy now making the Venezuela, what a moment, for those two. And then plus on the other side, you got USA, Dominican Republic. It is absolutely just the stakes have been high. The moments have been huge. The energy has just been crazy. Those ballpark environments have been amazing at just about every single venue. I think it's just a great highlight, a great showcase of how awesome baseball can be. And I think even with all the surprises that we've seen, I think we're still going to be in for a couple of surprises here. I hope that I hope baseball has a huge surge in Italy now because of this. It's just been such a blast and such a delight to see. And on top of it, we've gotten to see a lot of great performances from Rockies players, and another big moment there on the national stage for a Rockies player in Ezequiel Tovar, and it ends up being a wonderful moment. And I hope the wonderful moments for the Rockies aren't all happening in March. I hope we're not just sitting and be like, hey, remember the World Baseball Classic? That was fun in that moment. But it's just been a really, really big delight to watch. I continue to really, really love these type of this tournament. It's been something that every time it comes around, I get excited, and I hope it sets the stage for a really cool Olympics. I wonder, with the Olympics being in the summer, what that's going to look like for baseball, what that means for rosters and teams. But it's clear the international competition is up there. You've heard quotes from big name players talk about how important and significant it would be to win a WBC title. It's just been as a guy that just likes to watch entertaining sports things. It has just been awesome, and I hope it's setting the stage for a wonderful season ahead. No matter who you root for, I just hope that this is a moment that baseball can build off of, this modern version of the game, this different version of the game with a lot of superstars, being able to show themselves off in even more markets. You might have heard some of these names. You might be familiar with some of these players, but now you've had the opportunity to actually watch them in action, and now you get to have some names to add to your fantasy roster, or keep an eye out as your squad's playing against them, and maybe like, hey, I want to go catch that team when they're in town because I want to watch this guy play. I just have really, really enjoyed the World Baseball Classic. And I hope you baseball fans out there as well. If you're a diehard Rockies fan and you've watched Rockies baseball, I can't imagine you've been watching the World Baseball Classic and not been sitting there and enjoying it, because the games, there's been some stinkers. Certainly that's what happens. But I mean, I think the knockout rounds with the upsets and just with the performances, I don't know how, and with how much has kind of swayed, there's been a lot of big swings of momentum, I think, throughout these games. It's just been super, super entertaining. So I've loved to see it. And it's going to be a thrilling finish, and I just a nice way to just kind of keep things interesting here during spring training. Obviously, the Rockies were pretty, we're already pretty intriguing going into spring training anyway, with all the changes, and we continue to hear about the it being different around there. I mean, I'm glad to hear that things continue to be different. The vibes are still different around camp. It's good to keep hearing that, but it's starting to, for me, after seeing the WBC2, I'm ready for the real stuff to happen, because not only do I want to see the best compete in the big moments, I'm ready to see this Rocky squad actually start putting the philosophy to the grindstone of the real regular season. I really hope that the Rockies are able to come out and surprise us. I don't think, again, it's going to lead to a crazy amount of wins, but surprise us with being competitive here at the start of the season. Just as I've been saying time and time again here throughout the show. All right, let's recap the weekend of spring training here for the Rockies and look ahead to what's next here, all on segment number 3 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop. Yeah, I mean, this right here, it doesn't get any bigger than right now for college basketball. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night, and that means every point matters. Every possession matters for all the teams in the big dance, and FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into an even bigger potential win with a college basketball parlay profit boost. If you are believing, do you have an upset in mind? Have you been studying your bracketology and you know that this team is going to have this low seed is going to have the upper hand against this one? It's always, I always like to bet my OU Bobcats. They didn't make it this year, unfortunately. But, if you have that one, you can get in on the action here with a boost from FanDuel. You can make spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out, and then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. We're also brought to you by TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment, that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with the real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local. That's TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. Locked On Rockies here, closing things out on this Monday edition of the Locked On Rockies podcast. What are you watching for here as spring training is wrapping up? I mean, still lots of action, still plenty of days in between here before the real stuff happens, but it's going to be going sooner rather than later here. What are you watching here? What are you hoping to see through the conclusion of spring training for the Rockies? Let me know in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section down below. All right, so as of now, the Rockies trailing the Angels here in the finale of the weekend. Jake McCarthy, a 3-hit day. Good to see. A couple of times we haven't seen him. It's been, I feel like in some signs on offense, it's been a little bit of a cool spring for him, but always, but It's how much stock are we taking into that? But the offensive performance that I'm liking to see here from this game against the Angels here is Hunter Goodman. 2 hits here, including a home run. I believe it's a 3-run shot here for Hunter Goodman in this one. That's the guy that we need to see. It's been a bit of a slog for him as well offensively in spring training, but good to see him here. Hey, as long as it's right now, things are starting to heat up and start moving in the right direction for him. Love to see it. It might be a little bit of a slow start for Goody too, but I think we were talking a lot about Tovar. If the other bats in the lineup are able to contribute, I think that is going to be a big benefit and help for Hunter Goodman there. Something I did not talk about here, but I will talk about this week was there was a piece in the Denver Post there. I believe it was, I think I can't remember if it was Patrick Saunders. I'll have to, when I look it up, we'll know. But saying Condon not expected to break camp with the team. So we'll look into that here. So that means it's got to be TJ Rumfield's spot. He's 0 for 3 in this one here. Brenton Doyle has a hit and a walk here so far in this one. Jordan Beck with a hit and an RBI in this one as well. I think he's been starting to heat up a little bit. Tanner Gordon, 4 innings worth of work here, 4 strikeouts in that time with an earned run, 4 hits as well. And 1 walk when you're looking at the starters there. Some other notes from the weekend. Split squad action. The Rockies getting the dub against the Cubs, but losing to the Brewers. They fell to the Rangers on Friday as well. Tyler Freeman picking up a hit against the Brewers. Jordan Beck, a multi-hit day there. So, like I said, it's starting to heat up a little bit more for Beck, as I think he's trying to reestablish himself and remind himself that he's going to be a factor here as well. I think that would be I think it would be for the Rockies to be successful, to get out the gate hot, to go there. I think a guy like Jordan Beck will be someone to watch there. If he can start things off this season in the right spot, if he's able to kind of jump out the gate against some of these good pitchers, it's gonna be a good tone setter and a good way for the Rockies lineup to get rounded out there too. So I asked at the beginning there what we're watching here towards the end of spring. I think it's continuing to be that 5th rotation spot, how the Rockies are going to handle that, plus just continuing to see the offensive performances here. But I think now with that report, and like I said, I'll actually read from it, but we might be starting to see some of the actual starting lineups and potential starting lineup to start forming here when you're considering probably Rumfield at first. You got Castro at second, Tovar at third. You're probably going Tovar at short, and then you're going Karros at third, and then Beck in right field, Doyle in center, McCarthy in left, Goodman behind the dish, and then for DH, it is Mickey Moniak will probably fill that. So if I was to have to take a quick crack at what the opening day lineup is right now, I'd probably go ahead and say that. Speaking of Willie Castro, he had a nice home run for Team Puerto Rico as well. He's at a pretty good World Baseball Classic too. I think that a name that some of these guys, I'd like, once we start seeing them perform on the field, I hope we start talking about them a little bit more, because some of the vets that the Rockies have added to this lineup haven't gotten a lot of our attention here on the pod, but will be interesting. I'm trying to tamp the expectations, but I do think on the intrigue factor, the Rockies continue to pique the interest. But all right, folks, that is going to do it for us here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and the Back to the Bullpen podcast. I'm working on some crossovers for this week to get some good different perspectives here as well on the show. So to get some fresh takes, some fresh looks at the Rockies here. So stay tuned for that. And remember, we got you covered with the Colorado sports. We got you. You want to know what's going on at a crucial part of the season for both the Nuggets and the Avalanche? Well, we got you covered with Locked On Nuggets and Locked On Avalanche, plus Broncos. Everyone's got to take about their free agency approach right now, right? Locked On Broncos and the latest from Boulder there with Locked On Buffs. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.